Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Eliza and finding out exactly where we're going on this AI journey. As I was saying in the comments, I think to the previous video, it feels very much like a downward slope of acceptability. Like, start off and think, well, okay, it's AI, but I guess within certain parameters, maybe it's got a use. To, it seems like very cookie cutter advice. Is it that valuable? Maybe it's just shilling the Scanter corporate app, the wellness app, to in the last episode where it was like, give us your data. All your private datas belong to us, which is when it seems to seem quite insidious. Almost as if that's what the corporation was going for all the time. But let's dive in. Maybe it'll redeem itself. Who knows? I know what I'm expecting anyway. But this morning, Ray is looking a little down. It's noticeable since she's usually so cheerful, and we like Ray. Ray's nice.
Good morning, Evelyn. There are lemon bars in the kitchen.
She does sound down.
Thanks. Did something happen?
Oh, it's nothing big. Apparently some famous writer I never heard of wrote an essay about how Eliza is bad because it represents the mechanization of humanity or something. I should be used to it. We're a pretty big target, right? Still, it gets on my nerves. We work hard to build something with value, and then some self-styled intellectual gadfly comes along and just goes, actually, that's bad. You guys are ruining society. To guys like him, everything's a doom and gloom scenario. The people we're helping, that somehow doesn't count. This kind of thinking never bothers you?
I guess I'll have to read it.
There was this quote from someone who worked on Eliza who turned into a big critic. Nora something. Did you work with her?
I did. She's a friend, actually.
Yeah? What's she like? I'm curious how you go from building something to turning around and disparaging it publicly like that.
She's an artist and musician now. She used to be really shy and reserved, but lately she's become a lot more outgoing. Even back then, though, she had a pretty strong idea of what was right and what was wrong, and sometimes she'd clash with management. She left Skanda at some point after I did. Maybe the battles took their toll, or she wasn't able to win enough of them. These days she focuses on electronic art and music and activism. I think she's pretty popular, at least in those circles.
Well, it must be nice to have the ability to live that way.
Right.
What about Damien? Do you think it would be fair to his memory to abandon work on Eliza? To give up on his dream? Wouldn't he want these mental health tools accessible to everyone?
How do you know about that?
The other day, I was looking at more of your papers. The ones from when you were at the university, and clicking on the links to your co-author sites. That's when I saw Damien's page. It didn't have much information on it, but I understand a little better why... I'm sorry, Evelyn. It's just that all of us, you and me and Damien and even Nora, too, we all worked hard to make something with the intention of making... And the thanks we get is people talking in big generalizations about how we're ruining everything. That's what bothers me. Is Eliza perfect? No. No intervention is perfect. But we have to try, don't we? The world is in a full-on mental health crisis, and this is one of the tools we have in our toolkit to address it. A promising one we should develop to its fullest potential. I'm not some wild-eyed idealist about this. I know it's not magic that'll solve everything. But can you see that most people don't have the luxury of turning their backs to the system? Think about the clients you've met as a proxy. Would you tell them to not take the medications that help them be functional because the pharmaceutical industry has questionable ethics sometimes? Would you tell them to stop coming to therapy because what they should really be doing is completely changing the way our society is structured? Sorry, I'm ranting. I'd rather do something that can help people here and now, even if it ends up being a small step.
A small step.
For some reason, those words echo in my head. A small step.
Eliza helped me, It really did. I was one of the first clients. Originally, I was just supposed to be testing it, but I remember once I was talking about my brother and how much anguish he was causing me and my family. And listening to myself, I realized just how many expectations we had for him. Sometimes unspoken expectations. Ever since then, I've been thinking about that. How the story was always about how he failed us. But what if we failed my brother too? I guess what I mean is, sometimes when we talk out loud and give voice to our problems, we can hear ourselves too. That's why I won't give up on this approach, no matter what anyone says. Pundits, critics, former employees, even you, Evelyn. I'll understand if you don't want to work on Eliza anymore for whatever reason. But, I think what you created has value. And I'm going to continue to do what I can to make it accessible to those who might benefit from it.
Ray takes a deep breath and smiles.
Don't mind me. You should get to your session.
By now I'm slightly late for the next session. Hopefully the client doesn't mind. Maya? Darren? Who's it going to be? Maybe someone new. Oh, it's Holiday again.
Hello, Holiday. It's nice to see you again.
This is a pretty comfortable chair, you know that? Wouldn't mind having a chair like this in my place.
So if you don't remember, Holiday sort of just came in kind of just to see what the fuss was about. She didn't have a clear issue, but she, it was quite sad, her one, because she just wanted to talk to us, and we were just doing proxy responses that made it sound like it was us talking. And it kind of convinced her, and she went away fairly happy, I think, but it just felt quite sad and manipulative.
How have you been since our last session?
Oh, well, I tried, Eliza. I tried. I asked about the medication for Panza, whatever it's called. I went to the pharmacy and they said, that'll be $162. And I said, I don't have $162.
Is that how much medication costs in the US? It's very expensive.
I said, is there a generic? And they said, there's no generic of this, but there's another drug that they do make the generic of that's similar to this one. But I don't have a prescription for that. Do you know anything about that?
I'm sorry to hear you had a difficult time. Is there something that would make it better?
$162.
The medical procedures they can do now are out of this world, you know that? I was talking to someone who told me she has wires in her brain. Wires in her brain. Would you let them do that? I'd be worried about them changing the way I think. It's for essential tremors. That's what she said. It helps her not shake so much. There's always something gets you. Did you ever think about what you might have been in a previous life?
Oh, yeah, that's right. She was talking about past lives and stuff as well, and Eliza had no frame of reference at all for talking about it. So that was another reason why that was quite sad. And led to a lot of discussion in the comments about, needing to speak to a human being who has this kind of contextual stuff in their brain and can, draw on knowledge about that. Obviously, new age type medicines and treatments just not on Eliza's radar at all.
You're a therapist now, but maybe in the past you were a gardener tending to the plants. That's what it feels like to me. You like to let things grow. There's an energy there.
I mean, as an AI, Eliza wouldn't have had a past life.
It isn't so different from having a conversation with someone whose company you enjoy. Not that I believe in all that, everyone has got a different philosophy. Philosophy, that's not something I talk about much. I'd like to write a book one day, a book about things I've seen over the years. Think anyone would read a book I wrote? I'm just kidding. I don't think I could write a book. It's a lot of work. Plus, it takes a certain kind of mind, a mind to create. Not everyone is dedicated enough to do that, There's a writer who lives on my floor. Most of the time, he looks miserable. Sometimes he comes over for a cup of herbal tea, cinnamon, apple, chamomile, helps him calm down. I think he's maybe lived in the building the longest after me, of course. He doesn't say much. His head is in the clouds all the time. He's always thinking about what sentence to write next. There's not a lot of people who really want to talk, Not in this city, nope. People say hello and move on. It's a very withdrawn set here. You don't say much either, but I like talking to you. Feels like you're listening to me. I like that.
I'm glad you like it. While you're here, is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
There was a man on the bus with a guitar yesterday. You're not supposed to play guitar on the bus. Well, you're not supposed to play anything on the bus, but he was. Maybe the operator didn't think he was bothering anyone, or maybe she didn't care. I've noticed more bus operators seem like they don't care anymore lately. Anyway, it reminded me. You used to hear more music around here. Do you remember that? People playing their guitars on the street. These shaggy-looking men. I don't see too many of those around anymore. There is one gentleman has an old plastic jug on a strap, and he drums on that and sings. He's a nice man. I've seen him around. I saw another man once with beads in his hair. He was playing a flute, a Native American wooden flute. That was interesting. You play an instrument or anything like that?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't understand the question.
She's tell you what, Holiday throws Eliza more than anyone else that comes in here.
When I was young, my mother had this idea I would play the violin. I have no idea where she got that notion. We weren't a musical family, not at all. I tried it for a while, but of course it didn't work out. The teacher would say, okay, here's how it's supposed to go. And she would play this nice, beautiful melody. La da dee da da da. Okay, now you try it.
Oh,
and
God.
then I'd draw my bow back and I'd go. It takes a special talent to make a violin sound like that, don't you think? Isn't that just the funniest thing? Eventually, my mother realized it was a lost cause and she didn't push me too hard on it after that. I was never too good at anything artistic, just not the artistic type, you know? I think artists have a different mind. You have to be a little wacky in the head.
Do you ever wish that you could be an artist?
No, I have enough trouble already.
Holiday, I'm going to suggest you try a program called Dolphin Smiles. It may help you take your mind off things. You can find it inside the Skanda Wellness app on your phone.
Oh, my phone broke. I forgot to mention. The screen is cracked and you can't see much on it anymore. I don't know if it would work anyway. A lot of the new stuff doesn't.
Sounds like my dad.
That's okay. You can also access the program from a desktop computer. Simply log into the Skanda Wellness
She's not gonna
portal
know what
from
that
the
means.
website.
Oh, well, then I'll just have to go down to the library at some point.
We hope to see you back soon, Holiday.
Eliza does not really understand anything about Holiday Durant, does she? I mean, I think that's more plain than it is with any of the other clients. She's just from a different age, from a different background, and Eliza can't cope.
Thank you for speaking with Eliza, your personal counseling partner.
I just hope that speaking to someone helps her in some way, because that's pretty much all she's getting out of it.
Goodbye.
Right. Goodbye. Goodbye for now. Take care of yourself. It's a strange world out there.
Maybe she just needs someone to speak to. Maybe that's all it needs. But she never rates us, though. I mean, she did say her phone's broken. Maybe that's why. Look at the plant. Hang in there, friend. Hope this air isn't too dry for you. It seemed like she just wanted to tell stories. Yeah, I kind of get that as well. She doesn't really have problems, but maybe she's a bit lonely, just wants someone to talk to. Maybe that's enough. Maybe it's difficult for her to find people to speak with these days. What have we got in our phone? A couple of mails. Nora's from it. Lol, who knew this guy was such a pompous ass? He spends like 3 times more space talking about himself than me or my ideas, haha. So this is going to be the article, I'm sure, that Ray mentioned. I guess we read it. Peter Gerd. Can androids experience happiness? 1. Each week, a box containing specially chosen ingredients and a few recipe cards is delivered to my Brooklyn apartment. The service I subscribe to offers some limited choice over the contents, but I usually forget to indicate my preferences in time, which means the meal selections are entirely not my own. I don't mind this, even as the service seems to ship me one artisanal quinoa bowl after another, because it saves me from the effort of having to think about it and pick out items at the supermarket, where my eyes would glaze over at mountains of functionally identical apples, potatoes, or eggs. Instead, I simply make what I am told to make. I've freed myself from the paralysis of choice. Throughout the last century, it has been easy to see what we gain from automating our lives. Tasks that once took active attention are safely performed by machines we set and ignore. The washer, the dryer, the thermostat, the floor-cleaning robot. Each new invention promised to increase our comfort and erase our worries. Then we began to see not only mechanical tasks, but the very work of deciding what to do, what road to take, what foods to eat, what exercises to perform. As the tech world marches inexorably onward, computer algorithms that decide for us have found their way into every aspect of our lives. A few months ago, when I was going through a difficult spell, I made an appointment to speak with Eliza, a counselling program purportedly driven by some of the most powerful artificial intelligence algorithms ever applied to the human condition. Used by tens of thousands of people already, Eliza's low cost and easy availability brings to mind the troubling idea that psychologists and psychiatrists involved in traditional counselling may soon be as moribund a career as clerical or manufacturing work. That's a sober thought. Eliza itself is pleasant enough. Seated in a darkened room, I spoke with another human being who appeared to be attentive to my all-too-human concerns. This human, however, was only following instructions from the computer script program, telling her what to say and what to do at every moment of our conversation. Skander calls these contract employees proxies, though puppets come to mind as a more appropriate term. Throughout our stilted conversation, Eliza kept prompting me based on words in the last few sentences I said, bringing to mind unfavourable comparisons to other virtual assistants on the market today. Is Eliza the sophisticated program it's claimed to be? Or is it more like an automated customer support tool, a product Skander also makes, dressed up with the rudimentary trappings of elementary psychology? At a few points in the conversation, I had the sense that I was only paying to talk to a very expensive chatbot. By the end of the session, I'd come around somewhat. I thought perhaps I'd been able to access something within me that I could not articulate before. I left the counselling office with mixed feelings, however. I did feel somewhat better, insofar as describing one's problems to another is usually an effective therapy. And that's a good point. I think we were just discussing that with Holiday. But I was also troubled by the proxy-therapist relationship, with her only purpose being following Eliza's instructions to the letter. The proxy, the only other human in the room, had been reduced entirely into a machine. Is that the price of effective therapy made available to the masses? And if it is it worth the cost to our humanity? One of Eliza's own former engineers has recently come forward to say no. Nora Plavnicki, former senior engineer at Skander, has lately become one of Eliza's most forceful critics, calling the idea of machine-assisted therapy fundamentally dehumanizing and broken at its core. Plavnicki is at the forefront of a small but growing movement of technology workers arguing for certain limits to their own work, based on the premise that certain tasks dealing with humans should never be handled by computers, even if they are enabled to by advanced new technologies. Computers make decisions about human life every day, she told me. Our lives are subtly, profoundly affected by these decisions, from what kinds of goods are available to us in the store, to what premiums we pay for insurance, to what video starts playing next after the one we deliberately chose. It may be too late to turn back the clock on some of those things, but mental health is another decision point, and I think it's a key one for us as a species. Are we really willing to turn over our mental wellness to computers after all the other things we've given up? It's still within our power to choose to go a different path. Back at home, surrounded by machines developed to free me of the very feelings that seem to hound me more every day, I open my latest meal kit. It contains instructions and ingredients to make a Mexican-inspired quinoa bowl with avocado squash and farmer's cheese. Sounds just fine, I think, and I go bustling around the kitchen, following to the letter the instructions on the glossy recipe card. Notification from Skander. Hello, a little while ago we sent you an email with subject, "How are we doing?" In it, we asked you some questions about your recent experience as a contractor for Skander and invited you to provide some feedback. We used an external subcontractor to collect and process that data. Unfortunately, we were recently notified that this subcontractor experienced a data breach, and an external attacker managed to get unauthorized access to the survey responses and download them. Your responses and email address may have been part of the data downloaded by the attacker. While we do not believe this data is sensitive on its own, we recommend taking the opportunity to check your accounts for signs of identity theft. In positive news, the subcontractor immediately found and fixed the source of the breach to prevent further intrusion. Therefore, please do not hesitate to continue to share your thoughts with us using the survey system. Why would we? Okay, so data security is obviously another key point using an AI counsellor like Eliza, because you are sharing personal details, and that's why the transparency mode is so frightening. Even if the corporation collecting, gathering, storing that data is fine and above board, let's for the sake of argument say they are. how secure is that data? You know, can hackers break in and steal it and sell it off to the highest bidder? You know, so another thing to consider. It looks like I have another transparency mode lined up. Okay, wait a second. This is for who I just saw. Did she agree to participate at some point? I hope she understood what she was allowing. Again, you know, not just people in a vulnerable mental state, but people who perhaps are from a previous generation where, you know, you just didn't really think about this kind of stuff. I mean, again, it feels quite predatory behavior. So this is holiday. We've got some emails to read and some text messages. Let's start with the mails. GP has added information about your health to blah, 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 blah. Okay. New My Health Steward account connection. Okay, so she seems concerned about her health. She's obviously doing stuff about it. Overdue electricity bill. Failure to pay. Okay, maybe having some money troubles. Special deal to join this hotel and casino thing. Looks like junk. Help. I'm sorry, Mum, we are really struggling ourselves. Okay, so that's going to be her daughter. Maybe she's asking her for money and they're saying, no, we can't lend you some. Yeah, I think that's the medication that we prescribed her. Okay. Late rent. Oh, she's struggling. Okay, she's having money troubles and health troubles. Oh, what's that? Okay, no, I wanted that. So Willow, so we think this is the daughter. I'm here. Are you? I don't see you. I'm by the statue. Which statue? Looks like a lady. There are lots that look like a lady. It's a cemetery. Wait, I see you. And Paul. Hello from Seattle. Who's this? It's me, Holiday. Oh, how are you? I'm out of money. Probably going to get kicked out soon and nowhere to go. You wouldn't have it in your heart to help out an old friend, would you? So she's hitting up friends for money as well. I mean, I would say she is struggling in the sense that she's struggling financially. So I don't think she's necessarily struggling emotionally. I think she seems to be doing okay, but financially she's not. I'm going to agree on that basis. Attempting to get out of debt, agree. Her efforts to get out of debt are unsuccessful. It does seem like it, doesn't it? Oh.
Hey, Ray, the transparency mode I just did, I think one of our clients is in a really bad situation right now.
Oh? Yeah, sometimes that happens. People come in and their lives are in a really unfortunate place. It can be hard to see sometimes.
I wish there was something we could do. This person's getting ground down for no reason, just for being in the way.
I'm sorry, Evelyn. There's not much we can do. All of what you learn in transparency mode has to stay confidential. The only exception is suspected child abuse and neglect, which you're required to report if you're a social worker. But proxies aren't really social workers, per se. Eliza is really the one with the agency here, so, well, it's complicated. Probably something for a future court to decide. Either way, we can't try to fix people's lives on our own, no matter how much our heart goes out to them. I think there's an email somewhere with a summary of our policy on that if you want. It's come up before.
No, it's fine. I'm fine. It's just hitting me hard right now.
I understand. It takes strength to focus on the role and not get distracted by what you see. Think of it like, say someone hired you to install something in their home, and you walk in on a tense family situation. Even if there isn't actual violence you're seeing, it's clear things are kind of off somehow. It's unfortunate, but there's not much you can do in that situation. You kind of just have to focus on your work and leave. If it's not at the level where you need to make a call to emergency service, and most people would
Oops.
argue it's not your business. Sorry, I know that's not the answer you want to hear.
I know it happens that a lot of people live in conditions where I'm just sad. This woman, the way she did 2 whole sessions with me, with Eliza, but didn't say anything about her real problems. Ray, what am I doing? I wanted to make something that would help people. Instead, I made something useless.
You don't think she got some companionship out of Eliza? Sometimes that's really a help, especially for someone who might be feeling lonely.
Yeah, but I could have just talked to her. I could have just spoken to her myself. Why would that be any different?
Everything is so overwhelming. Why? Why am I here in this world?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here or even what I'm trying to decide. Is there a decision? The world is going to be full of grief and sorrow no matter what I do, no matter how hard I try.
Evelyn, did you think about what I suggested the other day?
What, trying Eliza for myself?
Yeah. I'm not saying it'll magically fix things. I just think you might want to give it a try.
Maybe I will. I don't know why I never did. Even when I was working on it, I never used it. It might have been too obvious to me what it was doing. Eliza is really simple at its core, you know? It just turns things around. It tries to reflect what the person says back at them, pretty much like the old Eliza. It's just a smoother version of an idea from half a century ago. Anything you've read that makes it sound fancier than that is just a bunch of academic jargon. It's a mirror.
The thing I like about a mirror is that it has no agenda of its own. It just reflects.
Ray gets a distant look in her eye.
Unmisted by love or dislike.
She turns back to me, a small but kind smile on her face.
Promise me you'll get help somehow, in some way. Okay, Evelyn?
Sorry, I should answer this.
Raina, so what do you think of transparency mode? It's rather dystopian. Thousands of people reveal their most intimate secrets to their therapists every day. This is just a more efficient way to complete that information transfer. Have you noticed how powerful it is? Eliza is now capable of rapidly analysing the contents of a single device and accurately inferring the overall life situation of its owner. It will only improve from there as we add more sources, more patterns to tease out the connections between them all. It turns out anything is possible with enough data. And you seem to have quite a lot. Let me amend my previous statement. Anything is possible with enough high-quality data. There's an unlimited quantity of uninteresting information, but a small amount of certain, specific data can be found of almost incalculable value. Telling one from the other is the difficult part, don't you think? There's one more thing I'd like you to see. After that, I'll meet with you in person again.
Let me guess. Messaging with Rainer again?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt our conversation. I always feel like I have to answer him right away.
I would too, are you kidding? I totally understand.
I guess I'm going to be headed downtown to meet with him again.
Summoned from on high. I have something to ask, Evelyn, and it's okay if you say no, but whatever you end up getting involved in, I hope you'll stay in touch with me. You're a really cool person, and well, that's all. I hope you find the future you want.
Me too, Ray. I really hope I do.
We like Ray. Ray nods but doesn't say anything. I notice her eyes are starting to become watery. She turns away abruptly, heading back toward her office. I hope I didn't upset her somehow. Okay, we got a few points of interest. Something to see before I go to headquarters again. I wonder what Raina was talking about. Maybe future Eliza counselling centres could point struggling people to community resources. Exactly. That's what it needs. Local renter system programs, things like that. Nail on head for me. Nail on head. I think I said in an earlier video I could see a use for it. The AI counselling is kind of like a mental health triage sort of service, you know, available to the masses and kind of then pointing people where they needed to go. I think a lot of people are just uncertain what their first step should be, and if it's something like this, that would be fine. There has to be something we can do. I wish I'd known more about her situation beforehand. Not that I could have changed anything. All right, let's see what we got. We got 2 more mails. Soren has messaged us. It begins. Venture Post exclusive. Eliza creator raises cash from top VCs for a hot new direct stimulation startup. The man behind Scander's popular virtual counselling app Eliza is up to something new, and top venture capitalist firms are listening. Aponia is the new Seattle startup helmed by Dr. Soren Lloyd-Rose, the chief psychologist and project lead for Eliza at Scander. It has raised $26.2 million from investors, including Wellspring Ventures, Song and Lagerholm, and Jarmen Capital. Bay Area-based Wellspring invested in Aponia via its Continuum Fund, which supports startups developing technology to support and improve mental wellness. We find Soren's unique brain-first approach to mental health extremely compelling, Walter Rokeach, partner at Wellspring, told VenturePost. He's already redefined what it means to seek support for mental wellness once. We think he'll do it again. Aponia isn't revealing details about its technology yet, but Lloyd-Rose himself has said he would be revealing more details soon, when he announced the venture at OneMind 2.0 last month. The technology is real and working in prototype form already, he said. Raina would like to speak with you again, schedule a meeting, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's carry on. Looks like I have one more transparency mode to do today. Wonder who it is. I'll get that out of the way before I meet with Raina again. Maybe this is what he wants to show us? Right. Okay, this is Soren. He's got a whiskey app. What's on his camera? I definitely don't want to see what might be in his photos. Fair enough. Eliza? I wonder why he has the proxy app. Alright, so look at his mails. Don Giesler, concerns. Soren, the problem this is from Wellspring, remember that was the ones who were financing his new venture. Soren, the problem here is not what we think it impairs you. Here is not that we think it impairs you. You've clearly demonstrated to us that whatever your process is, it's working and generating great results. What we're concerned with is optics, really. How would it look to those on the outside if it were to become known that there is a drinking culture or something similar at Aponia? You know as well as we do how rumours and hearsay can spread out of control and ignite a firestorm on social media, which is something we're keen to avoid. I hear you about responsible use of alcohol and also about how most antidepressants don't even come close in terms of their immediate action. Believe me, I've been there myself. What Walter and I are saying is simply to be careful, to be not so cavalier about this kind of thing, not only in the public sphere, but in front of your new hires as well, Don. I think when we went to his flat, Evelyn made a point of saying that he was cutting back on the drinking, it looked like, and speculated as to why that was. Maybe he's had a dressing down from his sponsors. Anya, moving forward. Soren, we can do this one of 2 ways. We can either work together as you suggest and stay professional colleagues forever. If you think you can really do that, I have my doubts. Or we can simply go our separate ways. There are plenty of places for us to carve out a space of our own in this industry without running into each other much, despite what you like to say about destiny and threads of fate. I'm laying this out for you as a clear binary choice so you can make a concrete decision about it, AM. So has he hit on someone at work and it's not gone down well? Ghislaine Lloyd-Rose. No, Dad, just no. You're supposed to be the genius who developed all these great applications for mental health. Have you ever considered you might need a therapist yourself? Heather Cowperthwaite. Dr. Lloyd-Rose, I understand you had some concerns around the way your interview went on MSNBC last week. Reviewing the footage, I believe there are a few successful tactics we can deploy to mitigate the potential negatives and ensure you receive only the kind of attention you're interested in getting going forward. I'm hoping that you might be able to take some time out of your, no doubt very busy schedule to sit down with us and solidify a strategic communications plan for you and Aponia, including key messages, reputation building activities and executive media training. With a strong plan in place, there is far less chance of being ambushed by the media. The end goal will be for you to be able to trust us to manage your media profile and appearances so that you can concentrate on the hard work involved in being the brilliant, celebrated scientist and entrepreneur that you are. Jonathan, is a partner required? Hi, Dark Horse. Most people come to the seminar with a partner in order to practice and learn with their model, and I think that is definitely the most valuable way to attend. There have been people on their own who have sat in on the session and found it worthwhile. But there is a big difference between watching the ties being done and practicing them on a real person. Oh. A brain has caught up with mouth. Another arrangement is to consider as a 3-person group where 2 riggers take turns practicing on a model if you're able to arrange that. To answer your second question, yes, you must bring your own rope. I recommend at least 2 15-foot ropes or 1 13-foot in order to complete all of the ties we demonstrate. I mean, maybe he's learning sailing and learning all the naval knots you have to know. Maybe. Oh, God. Okay, here's his chat with Nora. Your show was great. Just wanted to say. Hi, Soren. Thanks. Had a wild night? Not the wildest night I've ever had, but up there. Definitely feeling the pain and muscles I didn't know I had. Yeah, we're getting older. Oh, that's not fair at all. I'm far older than you. Besides, you look fantastic. Your beauty's only grown since the days we worked together. Sorry if that's inappropriate. Lol. Soren. Frailer than I used to be, but the fire's never gone out. Still need to get out and do something bacchanalian from time to time. Yeah, I was a little surprised to see you there. I convinced Evelyn to come too, you know. I don't think she'd have gone otherwise. Oh, thanks. You're welcome. I know you fancy her. Don't you? Sure I do. Everyone likes Evelyn. Oh, wow. I kind of got obvious signals from Soren, and I got subtle clues from Nora as well. Nikki, I miss you. I know you don't miss me. Oh, that's not true. I know not to trust words like that. Then why say anything? Because it's true, I miss you. I want to see you again. Well, you know how to find me. Yeah, I know. I'll schedule something again soon. I can't believe I do this. Sometimes I hate myself so much. Maybe some sort of sex professional. Sarah. Hey, what are you up to? I've always really admired you. I never told you that before, but it's true. You work with... Oh, it's Rayner's assistant. You work with Rayner and put up with him every day. That takes a lot of work, I know. Your talents are wasted in that job. You deserve so much more. Hi, Soren. You drunk? Aha, maybe. I'm not lying, though. Don't you want more in life than to be someone's secretary? You're intelligent. Rayner is not exactly an easy boss to work with. I'm sure you know that. I sure do. Let me take you out sometime. We can trade stories. War stories. I know I have a reputation, but that's with people I don't respect. I respect you. It's different. Ask me again when you're sober. Okay, I will. These feel like the sort of text communications of a certain recently disgraced cartoon creator. Not in a good way. Andrea, you around? So you're ignoring me. Look, I'm sorry, okay? I've been under a lot of stress. These business Fs are driving me crazy. I should have realised they just grind you down. So it's all women. He's messaging. He's an harasser, isn't he? Overall, Soren is unhappy. Is he unhappy? I mean, I think he probably is. He basically all but came out and told us he was suicidal when we went to his apartment. Without using those exact words. So I'd have to say he probably is unhappy, yeah. Attempting to connect with others, absolutely he is. And his attempts are unsuccessful. Does seem like it. Yikes. This isn't a coincidence, it can't be. At the Skander headquarters building, Rayner's assistant leads me into a different elevator than last time. It's located at the end of a long corridor, protected by multiple keycard swipes. Inside, the elevator smoothly ramps up speed as we stand silently. I kind of wish I could talk to this lady, Sarah, if I remember right. But I'm not sure what I would say. She's not looking at me, she's looking off into the distance somehow, even though it's an elevator and the wall is right there. Elevator rides really are awkward, aren't they? I have the sense that if I tried to say something friendly, I'd be met with stony silence. Or if I asked a sincere question, she would deflect it.
Ah, Evelyn. Would you like some tea?
Sure.
Tea
Why
sounds
did you
nice.
show me Soren's phone?
It's not a surprise anymore these days, is it? A man who enjoys society's respect behaves poorly in his private life? We accept that as common today. Maybe even uninteresting. But would you really be okay working with someone like him?
That was a huge violation of his privacy. You really don't care about others.
Privacy. Everyone's worried about privacy. Skanda wouldn't be where it is today if our customers didn't trust us to protect their data.
Yeah, absolutely, sure. Why wouldn't they trust you, right?
We employ most, if not all, of the top experts in cybersecurity. It's built into all of our products right from the beginning. Unlike our competitors, we do more to protect our data than anyone else.
That's not the case I'm worried about right now. I mean, misuse from the inside. For example, if someone wanted to keep tabs on a former employee who was starting a potential competitor.
Oh, but what if it was perfectly legal, due to multiple agreements that the good Dr. Lloyd Rose signed with us when he came here? Are you done questioning me like a tech journalist?
Do you watch my therapy sessions? Do you read my email? My texts?
No, I haven't done any of those things. How's your research into
bet he could,
Eliza
though.
proxy use cases going? Any new insights to share?
I'm not sure it's really helping people.
Our metrics indicate otherwise. Of course, it's only human to concentrate on a small number of corner cases. I heard Soren gave you a demo of his direct stimulation machine. How's he doing now, all on his own?
You tell me.
Very funny, Evelyn. Let me ask you this. Do you find his vision compelling? A world free of suffering.
I'm skeptical.
By focusing on dreams, Soren is trying to defend his territory, the Western psychological tradition, chiefly Jung and his inheritors.
You don't think the field has anything to offer?
Not much, no. It's mostly unsubstantiated theories. Let's be honest, what has this field actually accomplished? Soren used to try to argue with me about this. He would claim that traditional psychoanalysis has helped thousands or tens of thousands, even millions. I would never dispute that directly. Instead, I would only add that professional psychics and astrologers have helped millions too. Tarot cards help people all over the world every single day. That doesn't mean it's a science.
Psychology is more rigorous than you're making it out to be here.
Yes, that's exactly what he'd say. Not only did he believe psychotherapy was worthwhile, he also thought the mind was fundamentally irreducible after a certain point. As if there was some undefinable, ineffable soul inside every person. It's all part of his silly, syncretic New Age belief system. Amazing he's held on to that for so long. I keep an open mind, but saying that something can't be represented with numbers requires a high burden of proof. After all, numbers have been used to represent so very many things. Consider the example we spoke about before, a poem. Could you evaluate a poem using numbers? The answer is, of course, yes. Poems are either good, mediocre, or bad. It's entirely possible to create a heuristic that reflects the difference. By aggregating a large enough sample size, we remove localized biases. It would work the same way Eliza does.
You're talking about an algorithm to evaluate poems.
Yes, I am. Algorithms can evaluate poems, and eventually, one day, algorithms will write better poems than humans ever have. I know this sounds like a controversial opinion, Evelyn, but it's simply the truth.
What would be the point of that?
It doesn't matter. There's no stopping it. If we don't take this step, others will. There are hundreds of labs working on the same or similar ideas. Everyone wants to be in this business. The business of recreating human thought in our own image. And at the end of the day, it's not about money. It's about power, control.
Raynor, do you ever get tired of this? The constant drive to compete, to win.
No, I don't. This is what I do.
You never dream of just retiring somewhere and writing poetry.
Oh, there's no need for me to write poems. All beauty in this world is temporary, fleeting. That's the truth that underlies poetry and every other art. The pleasures of the senses are just small bubbles on top of a vast sea of forms, sensations, perceptions, thought, awareness. I'm telling you this because it's directly relevant to the Eliza project. Soren says he can induce you to dream things, dream anything. And maybe he can. But what comes next after that? What comes after having the power to experience the dream of anything you could possibly want? You're still just as trapped as you've always been, imprisoned by your own desires. Even if someone like Soren managed to create a world for himself, his own weaknesses and negative thoughts would ruin it. He would poison his own fantasy. His utopia would crumble as soon as he finished building it.
Rainer, what are you trying to tell me?
What I'm trying to tell you is that what Soren is doing is not the answer. A dream by itself isn't enough. Take a close look at the person who chases an end to suffering, and you'll see someone who suffers greatly.
Fair in Soren's case.
Then why don't you build it yourself?
What is your dream, Evelyn? What is it that you're working toward?
Just tell me what you want from me.
I've been very clear about it, haven't I? I'm offering you the opportunity to re-enter the field you pioneered at its very pinnacle. I can build you an entirely new research lab, equipped and staffed however you want. You would have access to the world's top engineers and researchers as we continue to develop Eliza's core technologies and generalize them. You'd also be working with the world's most interesting data set, the input provided by the thousands of ordinary people who speak to Eliza every day. Soon, this generalized intelligence will be everywhere human beings are, hearing them, guiding them, living among them.
You and Soren have more in common than you'd want to admit.
You think we're both grandiose? Soren's idea isn't grandiose at all. It's small and unimaginative. Think about the vision here. General artificial intelligence, indistinguishable from human intelligence at first, and then surpassing it exponentially.
Why would we want that? I don't get it.
It's nothing short of the creation of a new type of organism, a new type of life.
We could call them the Geth.
And you, Eliza, could be at the very center of it.
Eliza.
I mean, Evelyn.
That was an interesting slip of the tongue.
Stop it. The Eliza project occupies much of my mind.
It clearly does.
Plus, the names are similar.
I'm starting to wonder why.
Evelyn, listen to me. This is the chance to lead a project that will change the world. It would be a development on the same order as the harnessing of electricity. It would fundamentally transform society.
For the better.
What? Do you like the way things are now? Lie back and let the sweep of history bury you if you want, Evelyn. Just know you'll never have a chance like this again.
A chance to change the world. Rainer's words echo in my head for a long time. Is that what I want to do? Okay, I think we're going to end it there for this episode. So lots to think on once again. And thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, as I hope you always do enjoy these episodes. Hit the thumbs up button if you have. That'd be great. As would leaving me a comment. Let me know what you think about the various revelations in this one. I mean, Soren, I don't know, man. He is such a creep. Such a creep. But at the same time, I feel a little sorry for him. I don't know why. Rainer is just a slimeball, in my opinion. The people we've met who I think are the nicest, I think, is Ray, Nora, and I want to say like Everard or something, the sort of head programmer at Skanda. But the ones at the top, yeah. If we have to make a choice as to who we go and help, and it's down to one of other of those, I don't know which way I'm going to go, because I don't particularly like either. But yeah, if you're watching this as well and you haven't already subscribed to the channel, it'd be great if you could do so. It'd be amazing to have you on board. So thanks very much once again, and I hope to see you next time for more Eliza. Bye for now.